Hello, everybody. How are you? Thank you so much for being here today, joining us on Facebook Live for our In Conversation series, the next installment, which is today, right now. I am your host, Quincy Armour, and I'm also the artistic director of Black Theatre Workshop. And we're super, super happy to have you here with us today. I hope you are all doing well. This continues to be a very difficult time for many of us, both with what's going on around the world and the pandemic that is keeping many of us still isolated. I hope that everyone is thriving or at least managing to cope as best they can. I'll share with all of you that for me, it's certainly been hills and valleys, ups and downs, good days and bad days. But for the most part, hanging in there, getting through. And the team at Black Theatre Workshop is all working from home very, very hard to try to keep things moving along, wrapping up this season, and of course, getting things ready for next season, which is going to be our 50th anniversary season. So it's an exciting time for us, a difficult time, but at the same time, it's exciting. And we look forward to being able to share with you what we have plans coming up for the 2020-21 season. But for today, really happy to have a couple of guests with me today who are both part of the BTW family going back quite a few years. I hope they don't mind me saying that. These are two wonderful talents, dear friends of mine as well. And a couple of years ago, I'm not sure of the exact date, they started a new company called Black Wealth Media, which is a Montreal-based company that produces and creates Afrocentric content. I will bring them out here to tell you a little bit more about it. It would be much better for you to hear about the company from them directly. But first, I get to tell you a little bit about them. So first of all, we have Mariah Inger, who is working with us right now at Black Theatre Workshop. She is the assistant coordinator of our artist mentorship program. She is also a director and performer, and she most recently appeared on stage with Black Theatre Workshop in our 2016 production of She Said, He Said by Anne-Marie Woods, which I had the pleasure of directing, so very happy to have her with us today. And this gentleman who will be joining her is a wonderful man. His name is Henri Pardo, and he is a super talent. And the last time, I believe it was the last time that he appeared in a show at Black Theatre Workshops, going back to 1998 in a production of Riot by Andrew Moody. So it's been perhaps a little while since they've been here, but I'm super excited to have them both here to tell you what they've been working on right now. So joining me on screen right now are Mariah Inger and Henri Pardo. Hello.
Hi.
Knowing you too.
Good. Thank you.
Well, thank you both for agreeing to be on the show. I'm still adapting to calling it a show, learning all the lingo for this new medium that we're working in. But thank you so much for being here today. Before we get into the deeper conversation about what you each are up to, and of course the details of Black Wealth Media, I just want to start. I'll first go to you, Mariah, and Henri, I'll come to you in a second. But Mariah, how are you?
I'm okay. Thank you very much. You said it well. It's an interesting time, to say the least, and it's I think hard not to be emotional at times these days. But I'm an artist, and what do we do best? We create. So that's where my focus is right now, I think.
So fantastic. Well said. Good. And what about you, Henri? How are you doing?
Same, always ups and downs. As artists, we adapt. As Black people, we adapt to the times. We talk about pandemic and stuff like that. Ours has been going on for about 400 years, so that's another issue. It's really deep. So when the two collide, it's really an important moment. And right now, Mariah and I are surrounded. We're well surrounded. We've got great colleagues. But we've got also young, emerging filmmakers that are dealing with these times also that we have to take care of and, just sort of like guide them on not the right way, but, just to grow with us. So it's an important moment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that there's a little bit of, like I try to do a few things just to make myself feel a little bit better. You try to put on the outside the way that you hope to feel on the inside. So even right now, I want to wear a fun hat for this conversation. I'm going to wear my cute pink shirt and try to feel better. But at the same time, sometimes that comes along with, I don't know what it's like for you two, but it also comes with a little bit of guilt almost for making yourself feel good because there's so much going on that's not supposed to be a time to feel good. So that's one of the waves that I also have been riding a little bit over these past few days, or few weeks actually. But we, as you say, we do what we can, and hopefully, if we're lucky as artists, we can take all of that and put it into our work.
Yeah, well, that's the goal, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, on that note, it would be really, really great to launch in, because I wanted to have you both on here to tell our audience about Black Wealth Media. When I first heard about it, Mariah, I think you mentioned it to me for the first time. I was super excited to hear about it because it's something, first of all, that I knew that we needed. It's a fantastic initiative. It's in I call it a parallel or a sister discipline to us at Black Theatre Workshop, working on stage, and the fact that the two of you are the ones who are spearheading it, I think is fantastic. So this will be a question to either you, Mariah, or Henri. Would one of you just want to let everybody know what is Black Wealth Media?
I'll give that to Henri Pardo. Vas-y, mon chéri.
Black Wealth started because there was a necessity. As filmmakers, after a while, we noticed that we were always blocked at the same door. It's getting broadcasted. It's being in cinemas and stuff like that. So the main problem was a place to keep put on everybody's computers. So we said, okay, let's build it. Let's build this platform. For a while we called it a Black Netflix, but it became much more. It became much more because it was, after all, what we wanted to do is to unite, to have a sort of like an attraction and work together, right? And once we start working together, then things are really different. We talk differently. We want to be well. There's a lot of wellness going on, to be able to get that right product, that right conversation. So Black Wealth Media, long story short, started out in this idea of just getting together and putting our works out there. And eventually we became also a production company, and we started doing documentaries and developing all sorts of different projects with people around us.
Yeah.
Great.
Are you going to talk to them about that?
Mariah, were you gonna...
Oh, well, just also one of the things which is parallel to Black Theatre Workshop also is the idea of mentoring. Henri and I have known each other since we were kids, so we've seen the same things throughout our lives, obviously. And so in the creation of the company and producing and putting ourselves in the forefront of the storytelling and in the production of our projects, we also came to the reality of needing the people behind us, the people that are coming up behind us, the emerging artists, to have a place as well. There's no point in us knocking down all the walls if there's nobody to take up, when we walk through. So we also created a mentorship program that we are in our first year of, called Black Ink, which is for emerging filmmakers to produce their first short films.
So all this is really amazing.
Fantastic.
As creators, right? As artists, we're sometimes left alone when we're doing the writing and we're creating. But to have this collective, it's just times 10 now. The creativeness is just tremendous. These young filmmakers are just kicking our butts. Like, come on, let's go. Let's get things going. So it makes, it forces me to be better, to dig more, to go into what I know, what I've felt before, and try to put it on the page and eventually on screen. So it's quite an experience to be all together, like you were saying, you wear your hat sort of get through the stuff. Well, my hat is all these people around me. They, when I spend some time with my people, I'm much better at everything,
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do know. I want to delve just a little bit deeper into the Black Ink program. Obviously, I'm very interested in mentorship, because we started the mentorship program at BTW about 7 years ago, going into our 8th year. So how does it work with the Black Ink? Like, how long is the mentorship program for the artists that come in? How many people can you take in 1 year? I know this is the first year, and so maybe it might still be evolving, but where are you at right now? How many artists can you take, and what's the duration of it?
Well, I'll start with this, Sam, if that's okay. It's a year thing, but it took us half a year to put it together, because we're not a school. We don't have that much money. We have to like figure out what our people need to put their stories out there. So there was a lot of organizing around the teachings, if I may say, without being a school, right? Once everybody was in, we have these three sides of the program. So there's everything that's filmmaking. So from writing all the way, directing, producing, and post-producing also, and also on the web side. So there's a department taking care of marketing and the other one of web building. So web building this platform, and all these participants, as we call them, are there to work on these different aspects and surrounded by mentors, by professionals who have this experience. So in total, right now we've got 18 in filmmaking, plus another 7 or 8 in web marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole people around them, that's about at least 20 professionals that are there to follow them.
That's very impressive. That's really great. And actually, I can say that I'm familiar with some of the mentorees that you have in your program, because there's a little bit of an overlap with the mentees from Black Wealth Media and Black Data Workshop. Mariah, do you want to let us know who some of those?
Yeah, well, Shelby, Jean-Baptiste for one, and there's Tatiana, there's Suzanne, says there's a few. There's Jelani, there's Christine, who actually works in the office with us, Christine Rodriguez. Yeah, there's quite a few. I'd have to pull out the list because I'm pretty sure there's a few more in there that have been both in the mentorship program at BTW, and I think there's even some who have just done a show with BTW that have participated. So it's been it's actually quite a family for real.
Christine's just made a comment here
from Christine.
Yeah.
Oh, bless you, Christine. We're lucky to have you in our respective mentorship programs. You're so fantastic. Oh, that was so great.
And I add also this crossover thing is excellent. You know, at BTW, that's going on with its culture, its history, also deep history. And I go way back in that history also. But to have that crossover with us, you know, it's just we're working together. We're creating this wave, and that was the point, you know.
Yeah.
That's what's really exciting, because I think, you know, and I talk a lot about this as often as I can, where in situations like this, where you've got a company like yours and you've got Black Data Workshop artists that can work in different disciplines, it's, even though they're both mentorship programs, it's not about competition, it's about contribution. And that's what our organizations are doing for our community. And that's the great thing. I think that there's a lot of complementing that the programs can do for each other. And I look forward to seeing if there's even in the future moving forward, if there's a way for us to even develop a further connection with the programs and with the artists who are in them. That's really exciting to me. I wanted to just also just mention one thing too, because what I really like about what I know about the Black Ink program in particular, as you were just describing it so eloquently, Henri, the fact that you've got all the different disciplines and, you know, from writing to directing, producing, everything. And that's important to me because when we, at least in the world of the theater and the stage, you know, we've been talking a lot about diversity, buzzword that comes up from time to time. And I just did this other panel with Philip Aiken actually last weekend for Ghostlight, and we were talking about it, and I just mentioned how when that word used to come up a lot, it seemed like it was always about the performers, about the artists, people who would be hired on stage, and less so about the story or even, you know, that had nothing to do with the people backstage either. And so what's exciting for me about this program, it's not just to put Black faces on screen. It's for the people who are doing the creating and the producing and everything behind the scenes. That's what's really exciting about this for me, and that's the goal, correct?
Yeah, that's been a huge fight. I mean, Henri can speak to this enormously because he, for those who don't know, he's a phenomenal director, and he also writes his own pieces, and he's in production right now, which he'll tell us about. But part of the thing that we've been trying to create for years was that Henri and I, justement, we have been performers. We have both been performers first in front of the screen, even, doing Black characters written by everyone else who is not Black, directed by everyone else who is not Black, produced, et cetera, et cetera. And we're grateful for those experiences, as any artist is grateful to work. But part of the pain or the harshness or the need that is missing in the quote unquote diversity and inclusion, title that has been going around as a buzzword everywhere is how do we tell our stories, and how are we protected in telling those stories or performing those stories? How do we hire those people if they're never allowed to be trained or even included in the process? So the mentoring could never be just performance and in front of camera and or just one aspect. It has to be global, and that's the only way things are going to change, especially in the Quebec markets and the in the markets in North America in general. We have to be part of the entire storytelling process, and that's from the beginning to the end. So that was always kind of one of the main factors and the goals, to not just have a mentoring about producing a film and that would be it.
Yeah, right. And that also can be hard, to it's all about sharing our black experiences, and God knows there are so many diverse ones. There, I'll use the word, the diversity of Black experiences. But how do we do that? How do we? Yes, we can do this safe space zone for sure, but how do we accompany? How do we learn from it? And there's a lot of trauma in there also, right? There's a lot of beautiful stuff also, but how do we bring it to the forefront and put everybody around it? So it's not only about being it on screen, being that Black face, sorry for the expression, but it's the experience, it's the sharing of that immense culture that really, since we've been doing this, I mean, I let go of the mainstream. I said enough. After like 27 years of being an actor in the mainstream, I didn't get enough of who I was, of my family, of my heritage. So here at Black Ink and Black Wolf Media, we get to do that. We get to, Mariah and I wanted to build a home. It's not a parallel universe. It's not a finger to the system. It's a home. You take your shoes off, though. You get your own room. You can decorate it the way you want. We eat together. We thrive together, and we make mistakes, and that's okay. So stuff like that usually you can't do elsewhere. Here we're okay. Let's do these mistakes. Let's learn from them, and let's find other people like us. And I think we're 1 billion, somewhere like that, on the world, that want to share this culture, that want to learn from everybody's Black experiences.
Yeah, I think that just focusing on creating that safe space, that's so important, especially looking at what's going around in the world right now. Like, we need to have these spaces where we feel comfortable and safe to be able to explore and try and fail and get up and fail again and do what we need to do. I don't think that the importance of that can be underestimated. And I also love how you talk about creating a home. It's like that for us too. You come into BTW and you're a part of our family. You're in that so we have a similar way of looking at our work as well. I just want to clarify also, because at one point, Mariah, you were like, justement. Alors, on est ici à Montréal, au Québec. So the program, is it accessible to artists either in English or in French, bilingual?
Parfaitement bilingue. Henri porte le chapeau francophone souvent, and I come in with all the Anglo.
And and I have to say also, for Black Ink, we did find a partner also that decided to get on board with this journey. It's Patrimoine Canada, so Heritage Canada. The government did invest in this program.
Yeah.
Did listen, though, for them it was fighting racism, and we explained to them, for us, fighting racism is just having a voice. Let us speak what we want to speak, and they went, you know what, cool, let's go on with that. So we are grateful, and the rest is the participants, you know. And I just want to say also, there's sometimes this thought of, oh, they lack the tools because they didn't go to that type of school, to the conservatoire or l'INIS or NTS or whatever, but their experiences, their immense culture are tools in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why we're having a lot of fun here. We're sort of like deconstructing the way to tell stories, or just we're telling our way of telling stories, you know, and that can go in all sorts of Jamaican fables or Haitian parallel universe, whatever. It's a whole different thing, right? It's not beginning, middle, and end type of scenarios that we have here.
Yeah. And also, just to touch on the professionalism, is, you know, that is obviously part of the mentorship, is also to make sure that they learn, you know, that they're guided by people who do this for a living, you know, so that they're protected in learning professional skill sets. Although we're not training them, they are being guided, as a mentorship is. But one of the things that has also been kind of our, you know, little mantra has also been that a lot of people in the artist community of color have often built and done full projects completely on their own dime, with no support and no necessarily, you know, like you said, the INIS or NTS, you know, educations behind them. And so, you know, we've always kind of giggled, because we've been like, well, imagine if we had all the money. Imagine what we would have been able to produce, because we've produced films and theater pieces and projects for, you know, many years. Most of us have at least 20 years under our belt of wearing multiple hats and succeeding in our projects with no security or help or support. So, you know, having the support of Patrimoine Canada was amazing, but also just having the community go like, finally, I can do my own thing, and I feel like I'm going to actually be supported till the end is a huge success. I think no matter what happens with the program in the future, I think it's a huge success already.
Yeah, and if I can just segue to the other partner that we really need, is the audience, right? Our people have been working hard. They've been going through the pandemic. They've been diving into their stuff, learning, and just putting the stories out there. And the other partner that we need is that audience, right? And it's hard for them. It's hard for them to just not watch Netflix, and because those channels are already there, right? So we need their effort, their support, their love, their patience, and but it's what a ride. It's really fun.
Quick question also, because Mariah can attest to this. When the pandemic came along, you know, we at Black Theater Workshop had we canceled a couple of shows, but we also had to shift our industry showcase for our mentees. That was supposed to be live at the Siegel Center, but we weren't able to do that. So the showcasing of the artists became online and virtual, and it became so much more than we thought, but in a very, very great way, because we were able to expand the reach that, you know, these artists, their work was to be able to be seen by people across the country, not just potential engagers who happen to be in Montreal over the course of that weekend. And so my question is, in terms of how the Black Ink program in particular culminates, how much was the mentorship program affected by COVID? How much adjusting did you have to do?
Henri?
Loaded question, sure.
You know, there are things that are, you know, that we have to do. We had to stop. In our situation, our film crews had to mix and mingle with the population. So we had to stop that. We, you know, listened to all the authorities on that stuff now. So we suspended activities for about 3 months. That's on the film side. On the website, on the marketing, we continued. So a lot of, you know, Zooming and télétravail and all that to get the work done. A lot of adjustment on the administration side. So that was pretty much it. So I guess it helped them just to like rethink their ideas, rethink their stories, dig in deeper. But that's how we had to adapt.
Yeah.
Now, the next step is really hard, right? Because it's not a question of respecting what has been told by the authorities. It's a question of the health of our people. And, you know, we've got some stories that have, you know, an 82-year-old woman in a car, an old man on the roof, a young kid. We've got all sorts of people, right? And we want our people to be safe. So we're developing a protocol, a COVID protocol that everybody's safe and secure, and they can still do their stuff. But if I may say, though, it's one of these things where resources are important, right? The industry will have, or they're bigger, they can afford to have an official COVID person to watch everybody, right? We don't get that. So it's sort of the same thing, like there's the pandemic and then there is Montreal Nord pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, so in every sector of our dear society, it's the same stuff, and we're always on the bottom of the pyramid. So we have to be really creative, safe, but these are the facts, you know. So that's something to think about for for the next wave, because
yeah, it's coming. Yeah. It's definitely made things more complicated, and of course, our poor mentorship participants, they've been chomping at the bit to get ready to go and shoot. You know, they just want to shoot, and we're so proud of them that they've even hung in for so long, because it's been such a weird timing. But we're preparing it, and it's going to be done safely. It'll be done well, and obviously, just so nobody is confused, he was describing some of the characters in films that we're trying to that will be actors and such. So we're just trying to make sure that they're safe, you know, as well. But also, I think it's also been kind of interesting for us as the kind of leaders of this company and this program, because it's also given us time to reflect on what do we need to change, what do we need to adjust, what do we need to, you know, move to a better direction, not only for the future, but also for these current participants. And, you know, we've changed things in our branding. You know, we've done some other stuff too. We've done some huge changes. Like, we basically have not sat idle. We have continued taking this time and just trying to move forward, because we want to be ready when it's time to shoot, when it's time to do our big launch event at the end of the year, which was supposed to happen already. when we're launching all of the finished products, we want to be, you know, voila, we're here. So we took the time. We are taking the time well, which is good.
Good. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, one of the early projects that came out of Black Wealth Media was Black Wealth Matters, which was a documentary, multiple episode documentary series. Do you want to tell people, our audience, a little bit about that one?
Yeah, that was really the beginning of Black.
That was the catalyst of it. Yeah,
it's so Black Wealth Matters is an 11-part series on the creation of wealth. So basically, I took a small crew and I followed all the collaborators of this thing called the Forum International Économique. Sorry, so the Economic Black Forum, International Forum. Sorry. So basically, following this doc follows social innovators, psychologists, doctors, entrepreneurs, and how that middle class is sort of like organizing and structuring their wealth and their creation of wealth. And in so doing, for me, it was like going to university or something. It was like I learned so much on this, not on this community, but this new way of doing stuff, of coming together, you know. Yes, learning of my history, but just the multiple peoples in Montreal. So I had a wonderful time doing it, and that's our first, you know, product, our first series that's on our website that you can see, Black Wealth Matters, and we named it that to honor the brothers and sisters of Black Lives Matter, because they're at the front, they're fighting the war, they're protecting us. But it's that thing of, while that's being done, we got to build a home. So Black Wealth Matters went in that direction, building a home. So when our brothers and sisters come back from the war, there's something there, right? So that's what we wanted to do. So we went and did this company with Mariah, and I told her, this, I want to do. Okay. And we sat down, figured stuff out, and it evolved. It was really rough because from finding, investors, or finding just the whole business plan of it, was hard, because
we wanted to do everything. We also wanted to do everything.
She's done a bit of business, but we're not from the HEC or whatever. So there was a lot of stuff that we had to learn while we were doing it. And there were many times where we felt alone. And this is the proof now that we're not. And it's amazing. They're blowing our minds. We're into deepness, man. It's tremendous. I'm learning so much from these participants, from our kids.
Yeah. And the people who have joined us, like Eric.
It's 89. The first time I was in BTW was 89.
89.
Yeah, 89. Just out of school, or not even school yet, or dropped out, something like that. But I was like, wow, Tyrone Benskin and this person, and just working with, they were my mentors. And here I am just flipping the roles. It's spectacular, So Black Kid Workshop is so important. It really is.
Yeah. It is. Mariah, what was your first with the dubs?
Tyrone was my first mentor when I was 14. That's how I started to know. So many years ago. I don't even remember which shows I was doing back then, but Tyrone was my in at that time.
Nice. I think the first time I did a show with BTW was back in 1998. I think it was 98, and it was the school tour of New Canadian Kid. It's so weird. I think 1998, and then sometimes I'll sit back and be like, doing the math. When you're like, that's like 12 years ago, something like that, and you're like, no, it's actually 22. It kind of hits you really hard.
Somebody else will do the math for you. So
true enough. But but for me, that's one of the fun things also to know that there are artists in our community who have been around for a little while, but who are now successful and thriving, and such as the two of you, giving back. I think, I certainly really appreciated the mentors that I had early in my career, first as an actor, and then even also when I became an artistic director for the first time. Thank goodness for the mentors that I had, people I could go to for advice and ask questions, because I didn't know how to run a company at first, and I needed that. And so I think in part, that's part of why the creation of AMP was so important to me, because I see the value in it. And so it must be really great for both of you. I mean, I know that you're very humble and you're talking so much about the artists that you're mentoring, but it's got to feel good to the two of you to know that you're doing this for the community, for the artists, for the industry, actually.
It's been a long road. I have to say, it's, what Henri was talking about when he was creating Black Lives, Black Wealth Matters, it was, he had built this beautiful series completely on his own, and then came to me with 1,000,001 ideas of where we could do. And we just knew that what he had learned and what he had created should be an existing company somehow, somewhere. What does that mean? And it's been a long road, and we've had to learn along the way, but the reality is that we never stopped. And I do believe in the work ethic of never stopping and achieving. And, there were times where Henri and we were like, what are we doing? When are we done? Because there's, we don't get to have just, here's $10 million, go ahead. There was many years of hard times, but now it's like, how could we have not done this? How can we not continue and do this and grow? And that's very rewarding. And of course, we're going to keep going back to the participants and the audience and our friends like Eric Idris Canago, who helps us in so many ways. And, other organizations like Black on Black Films that help us out, because it's because of them. They finally, the proof is in the pudding, and it's because we finally have done that work. We have stayed on course, which I think is where we have to pat ourselves on the back. But these people have come on board, and that's the magic, really. That's the magic.
But and also regarding what you said about giving back to the community, I don't know. I'm hesitant to use that with what we're doing because I don't know what you think, Quincy, about it, but you know, as an actor, you use what you have, what you are. That's your main tool, right? And as a filmmaker, I can pretend to be white and be in that universe, but it's not mine. So as soon as I look at who I am, that's what I use. And I've got these stories, I've got this life, and then I've got people around me. So you know, it's like using what I have, and what I have is amazing and is limitless, right? So and those tools will be just very different and will tell different stories. So I understand the aspect because maybe we're not a lot of companies like BTWs or BTW or Blackwell to do what we're doing in different sectors, but we're just using what we got, what we are, right? So it's sort of natural. So it's not necessarily giving back. It's just, this is my family, man. Like, I want my mom to be proud of my shit too. Like, I gotta work hard and honor her history and all that, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. So we're coming up just a little bit to wrap up fairly soon. But if any interested emerging film artists are out there watching and learning about Black Wealth Media and want to get involved, what do they need to do? How do they get in touch? What path do they need to take?
They can just go to our website, first of all, you know, blackwealth.media. And then they will, obviously, there's a lot of things that are in the making. As I explained earlier, we've been doing a whole bunch of rebranding and such. So things will be upgraded more and more in the next few weeks. But right now, they can at least see the basics. But then also through there, they'll be able to go and see all of our stuff on Black Ink as well. We're just, it's just upgrading right now. So.
And there's a contact email also, you know, of course. You know, when we started, people were saying and be interested, but are there filmmakers that are Black? Do they know? And there are tons, right? So there are even more that we don't know. So of course, everybody that is interested. We're in Montreal now, but we don't.
You want to go international,
We don't care about colonizers' borders. We go beyond that. Maybe Haiti,
Jamaica, Toronto, it doesn't matter.
Here, because we want to work with people in other spaces. Also, we have shared history that we have to link up. So, please get in touch with us.
And also go to our Facebook page. We have a lot of, there's constantly information, and you can also see a lot of the promo videos of our current mentees that are getting ready to shoot their video. Great. They put in so every week there's been a new promo video about what they're creating. So you get to learn about them as well too. So, and which of course will eventually be all on our Black Ink, Black Netflix type of page, which will really be dedicated to them individually.
Fantastic. So go check out all those videos. What you guys are doing, it's so inspiring. I really am a fan of what's going on over there. What you've done, the two of you, it's so impressive. I can see in the few conversations I've had with some of your mentees, what they're getting out of it, how they talk about the program. It's so nice to see them feeling good and thriving and growing as artists. So thank you to both of you, first of all, for creating it and for running it and heading it. Thank you for coming on to Black Theater Workshops in Conversation With to share about it and let people know. Couple of little, businessy things here for all of our audience watching. Please don't forget to share and like us on Black Theater Workshop Facebook and our Instagram. And of course, Black Theater Workshop is participating in the Great Canadian Giving Challenge, which is a fundraising initiative that ends at the end of June. So next Tuesday is the last day. And for every dollar raised through Canada Helps, we have a chance to win a grand prize of $20,000 for the Artist Apprenticeship Program that will be drawn on July 1st, which is next Wednesday. So if you haven't already, please make a donation to
that's
BTW.
important to me too. That's my other brain. That's my other hat.
I know many of you probably already have made your donation, so thank you very much for that. Go over to Black Wealth Media, onto their website. If you ever need to find it, you can get in touch with us and we'll point you in the right direction. Mariah, Henri, it's been so great to chat with you for a little bit. Thank you so much.
Thanks for including us. Thanks for thinking of us.
Oh, absolutely. No, I was really, really looking forward to having you on. And this is exactly what, this is new. Obviously, it's a new initiative for us since COVID happened. But what I'm really liking about this is the opportunity to take Black success stories and to share them with our community, Black artistic stories, and to share them. And this actually is both of those things. So how wonderful that you were both available and interested in spending some time. So thank you once again, Mariah, Henri. Thank you to our audience for watching this afternoon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Oh, I should tell people what our guest, because we already know who it's going to be. So next Thursday, I get so excited. Next Thursday at 2 p.m. on In Conversation With, I am going to be talking to actor extraordinaire Vlad Alexis. He's so great. He is an alumnus of our mentorship program. He's now a mentor in our mentorship program. He was one of the stars of the movie Stonewall. He's got this new TV show coming out called The D-Cut. Super talent, super nice guy. I got to perform with him in Choir Boy at the Santor Theater. Sweet, sweet gentleman. So he's going to be with me here next Thursday. So don't forget to come back and watch us for that. So that's it. Thank you so much, Mariah, Henri, everybody at home. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.